Good morning, my fellow yoga travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. Oh, it's Thursday, so here's the story from the Chandogya Upanishad. Once upon a time, the tongue, the eye, the ear, and the mind were all talking about who is the best among them, most important to the body. So they went to Prajapati, the creator, said, "Sir, who's the best among us?" He said, "Well, I have a simple way to settle the dispute. Why don't each one of you depart from the body for a year, and then whoever seemed to be the worst when you departed, in terms of how the body felt, we know that that one is the most important." So tongue left for a year, and it was really bad. Couldn't speak, but could see, could hear, could think. So tongue wasn't it. Then the eye left for another year. It was blind. Went around for a year groping about, but couldn't see, but could still think, could hear, taste, smell, and so forth. And that wasn't the worst. Then the ear left, and it was deaf, but it still could speak after a year and see and think. So it couldn't have been one. Then the mind left, and it was like a kid, not even thinking. But it still could hear, and see, speak. So wasn't it? Well, then breath copped an attitude, and breath decided to leave. And as soon as breath pulled up, like a horse pulling up the thing that tethers it to the floor, everybody realized what was happening. Said, wait, don't go. Now we know who's the most important. And so that's why in the yoga tradition, they don't call it the five tongues, the five ears, the five eyes, the five minds. They don't call them. They call it the five vital breaths. Now you know the secret of prana. Life begins with breath and ends with the end of breath. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, my clutter friends out there, before we go on, remember, keep the rest, keep the best, fling the rest. I've been going over the emotions to remind you the five basic ones. And we did it already, glad and sad, so glad and mad. So today we're talking about sad. That's when you lose something, you lost something that you need or you want. You feel hopeless, dejected, disappointed, lonely, depleted, emptied, alone, heavy. Well, the real key is just determine the loss, acknowledge the loss, grieve the loss. Allow yourself to do that. Feel better. All right, my teacher says when we practice yoga, one of the ideas is to look to the vastness. Look to the vastness, not to the limited outlook of our own perspective. The lack of true knowledge about who we are is really one of the sources of pain. And yoga gives you a vast arsenal of techniques, a pharmacopoeia, if you will, to heal yourself away from the via negativa into a positive life orientation. As we say in the field, do yoga a little, change a little. Do yoga a lot, change a lot. So it's up to you. Now, for me, I've learned that each act, however profane it may seem to be in the secular world, can be experienced symbolically as a religious act. What I've understood from ancient cultures is there was no act that was outside of the purview of religion. If you build a house, it's a religious act. If you cook food, it's a religious act. Take care of your kids, it's a religious act. Right? Fertilize the field, it's a religious act. Go to war, it's a religious act. Make love, it's a religious act. There's nothing that you can't use that can't be seen in the light of spirit. And so when you meet your teacher, who for me is like an emissary from an unknown world, who comes as your guide and as your patron, they give the message, and after they appear, they pass out of normal cognition. Once they've transmitted what they have to, they let go, because it's designed to bring you as the seeker or the student into affinity with the mystical current in order to be transformed by it. They don't need to be around once they turn you on to that. So remember, in the way that I'm speaking to you, some of it is supposed to be a subtle kind of hypnotic trance. I'm speaking, you're listening. Right? You don't even have to understand. In fact, the less you understand with your conscious mind, the more you'll understand with your unconscious mind, because that's the part I'm speaking to. Let your own unconscious sort everything out. And what will be left is only what you need to know. Only those things which you believe would be useful. I've already planted, you don't even know. So focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Only think thoughts that serve you, and do a myriad of things that make you feel good. Learn how to do that, and you'll understand how it blesses you and also brings blessings into the world. So I hope that you all pursue whatever your goals are intensely, but you got to do it lightly. You can't walk around like a tight fist and clenched jaw. That's certain to bring failure. That attitude was certain to bring failure. So loosen up, take a more carefree approach to life. I know that there's stuff out there that makes some people say, how can I be carefree considering that the world's going to hell in a handbasket, both at the level of nature and culture? Still, those of us who feel like we have to hold the line while other people make their glorious mistakes, don't make hard work of it, as they say. To the extent that you can play the Leela, the dance of life, as Shiva would say, treat it to the extent that you can as something you can do that brings fun and playfulness into it. And that's the difficult part of the game, isn't it? All right, I'll be at the Catherine Legg Lodge out in Hinsdale on Saturday, doing my part to help out with yoga and cacao ceremony and African dance and the crystal bowl healing. And I'll be doing fairy tales and stories. So check it out. It's on my website. Sign up. You can get half price if you do it today. That's on Saturday. And otherwise than that, have a great day.